Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM, it's the morning drive, and we're talking property for the next half an hour. Once again, Mario Volpi is the Senior Vice President for Investment Advisory at Allegiance Real Estate. Mario, welcome.
Good morning, thank you.
Just back from Georgia, I gather?
Yes, last week. So actually it was Mira Developments that had organised this grand tour, really. I'd never been to Georgia before, so obviously I was quite excited to go.
Yeah.
But what was different about it was the fact that they actually brought 350 brokers, business leaders, company owners to a development that they're planning and have launched in Tbilisi Hills, which is just sort of 20 minutes from Tbilisi. The site itself is lovely. There's a golf course there, and it's going to be overlooking Tbilisi. So actually, sort of at night, it'll all be twinkly lights. And so it's an amazing view, very green. In fact, it's called Mira Verde, and Verde is Italian for green. But the reason why it's different is because normally developers tend to spend a huge sum of money on perhaps a launch day, a fancy restaurant, fancy hotel, ballroom, that kind of thing. So Mira did it really differently. So they actually, brought out 3 plane loads of agents.
Well, I was going to say, what's the phrase when you bus people in by plane? Do you plane them in? I don't know how that works.
I guess so, yeah.
It's something like that. I mean, that's a huge number of people to bring to something like that. It is a different way to do it.
Definitely, but it wasn't just bringing them there. It was, from start to finish, we were looked after tremendously well. If I say, we arrived at the airport here in Dubai, and depending on what time you got there, you sort of met the representatives. They gave you a goodie bag. Inside the goodie bag was sort of a mask for your poor face, from the point of view of cooling your face, because it's the middle of the night. The flight was at 1:40 for me. And a plug adapter, so that you were able to charge your phone up when you get to Tbilisi. Small little things like that. Anyway, we get to the airport, and we've already been given our key cards, so effectively already checked in. Now, normally when you check in, it's like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I arrived there at 5 o'clock in the morning, ready with my key card. So we went straight to the hotel. Again, transfer done. Beautiful room. It was the Radisson Blue Hotel, which in Tbilisi is really, really nice. And there's this box. You open up this box, which was waiting for you in the bedroom, and inside you've got a really nice cotton T-shirt. You've got a hoodie. You've got some dates. You've got a notebook, a pen, and then an envelope. And you open the envelope, and there was 350 Georgian gels, or their equivalent of currency, which is around 450 dirhams, pocket money. I mean, everybody got that as well.
Wow.
So that's what I mean about being looked after. And then, of course, all the food, all the entertainment. Of course, we went there to learn about the project. We then went to see the site, and I was blown away. Honestly, it was amazing. And of course, now everyone's talking about it. They even gave away, at the time, 5 iPhone 17s for the best sort of social media post. And it was all ladies that won it, which was quite funny at the gala dinner. So Marwan, who is the CEO of Lighthouse Properties, who's also in collaboration with Mira, decided, well, we'll do it again. So we'll do another 5. And actually today they're going to announce another 5 winners. So I think hopefully a couple of guys will win it.
So have you been posting furiously?
To be honest with you, I've got absolutely no chance. I need a new phone because mine's quite old. But no, I left that to the young-uns, as it were.
I know. Well, tell me about the development, because I'm interested in this. I mean, I'm aware of some of the things that Mira do here. We're obviously part of Mira as an umbrella, Mira Business FM. But what's the development like in?
So like I say, it's called Tbilisi Hills, and there are already some established villas as you kind of approach the road to get to the site. But it's a master plan. It's a master plan in the sense that we're not just talking a couple of villas and a few apartments. There's going to be retail, there's going to be hospital, university, school, 2 hotels, 1 boutique, 1 luxury, over 80 townhouses. There's going to be villas. There's 600 apartments. And what's good about the design, it's designed by Mario Casamonte, who's an Italian designer. And because of the topography of the land, therefore you're going to have some buildings higher than others. And by the way, the sort of taller buildings are only G+4, G+5, so they're not going to be very, very tall, not like skyscrapers or anything like that. But if you're in a villa, the chances are, if it's a high villa, the chances are you're going to be overlooking another person's villa. But the way they've designed it is that you're not looking on top of a roof, which looks really boring. Well, technically you are, but the roof is a garden. So that's why it's called Mira Verde, because it's in a wood. There's greenery everywhere. There's a golf course next door, and you're looking out onto this effectively beautiful sort of flora and fauna, very verdant, and slightly different in that respect. But the location is good because whilst I say it's only 20 minutes from Tbilisi, it's only around 20 minutes from Tbilisi Airport going the other way as well.
Okay.
So it's sufficiently away from, dare I say, the hustle and bustle of the city, but it will be like a little mini city in itself because it'll have everything there, like I say, shops, offices as well. So you won't need to, medical center, you won't need to go anywhere. Everything is going to be there.
Sounds really smart. I mean, smart as in a decision, an idea, but really smart as in a place to live. You say it's 20 minutes from Tbilisi, 20 minutes from the airport, so midpoint. So I would kind of guess people looking at that would look at it as a holiday home. Is that the target?
I think yes. If you're talking about the apartments,
Okay.
the villas are going to be substantial. They're going to be beautifully designed. They're large as well, and of course they're going to be fairly pricey in that respect. But there's a lot of interest from Emirati buyers. Obviously, locals are interested in it, and because Dubai, I didn't realize just how close it was. It's only sort of 3 odd hours by plane. It's on the same timeline. So whatever time is in Dubai is exactly the same time as in Georgia. But Mira are not the only developer that's going to go out there. I mean, they're the first ones to sort of launch and talk about it. But I know I've been told that Emaar are going to be doing something there as well. So a few local developers are looking at other areas. Of course, what's interesting about Georgia, although this will probably take a long, long time, is that Georgia wants to be part of the European Union.
That's right. Yeah.
And therefore NATO. Now, that's a problem because of being part of the former Soviet Union. Don't want to get too political, but they're not happy about that. And I guess a little bit like Ukraine wants to do, etc. And we saw how that turned out. But if indeed through parliamentary routes or proper channels this actually happens, then of course the value of real estate in that location will definitely go up. But we're talking years and years and years. It's nothing that we're not. These are not flipping projects. It's not where you buy and then 6 months later you sell. So I think you're right. I think it could be definitely holiday homes for. I'm going to use the word locals, but not necessarily locals as in Emiratis. Although there'll probably be a lot of interest from the national community there, but even expats, because the weather in the winter it's cold, in the summer it's hot. You can ski there. You've got coastal towns like Batumi. The food is amazing. Where I am in JBR, there's sort of Georgian restaurants popping up here, there, and everywhere. So there's a lot to gain, and for those people who want to escape, dare I say, the summer heat here. On the same timeline, 3 hours away, it's a great location. So definitely I recommend it. I think Mira will probably go back. I'm not sure whether they'll bring new people or whether the people that have already been kind of go back. There was already a poll to say who's ready for the next one, and of course everyone piles in. Yeah, I'm in. But I think it was only the first 100. I think I was the number 3. Straight away got in there.
I love it. I mean, I've heard a little about Georgia. I have a friend who had a flat there years ago with her husband, and they're skiers, so they would go in winter, and she always raved about it. I don't know much about it. I know it's on the Black Sea. I know Armenia it's just under Russia. I know Turkey and Armenia border it. And I know Kvaratskhelia, the winger, plays for PSG, who is Georgian, who
Yes.
I think is one of the great footballers at the
Yeah.
moment. I just love watching him. But I have to kind of plead ignorance, really.
Well, the other person actually is I don't know whether he's the current goalkeeper, but he certainly played on Saturday. Is the Liverpool goalkeeper something like Mamashili or something like that?
Yeah. Okay.
Anything with sort of Shili on the end of it. And I asked there was a tour guide. I asked him what sort of like the Shili bit or Adze and what do they mean? And it's just like the Dutch Vander, so it's son of or daughter of.
Okay.
It's just very typical of that region. So you see, you learn something every day on the show.
I feel like something's been revealed today. Well, look, it's nice to have you back. I'm glad the trip went well. And I have a feeling that we'll be following what goes on there anyway, quite naturally. I really wanted to talk to you today, and this is one of those topics that comes up regularly. I know you've been commenting on this. Generally about the market here in Dubai, and for a very specific reason, really, because this is what everybody's talking about. You were quoted last week. You're regularly quoted, Mario, in a Khalij Times article on October the 3rd. You'll remember, and the headline was Bubble Risk. But why Dubai property will sustain price climb? So on the one side, it's the UBS 2025 index that is flagged Dubai as bubble risk. Your point of view is completely different there.
Yeah, I mean, like I've commented there, any elevation of a city in this index is, I'm going to say, it's not welcomed, because obviously nobody wants to be in a risk of a property bubble. Yeah. However, we were on a virtually zero risk last year, so the amount of frenetic activity that we've had in the real estate market, it's kind of not surprising. So we've got a slightly elevated risk. We're now at the same level as Los Angeles, Geneva, and Amsterdam, according to the report. However, I think that the fundamentals that we're experiencing is going to actually prolong this this bull run, as I call it, because we're rising for all the right reasons, and that is not speculative. Even when somebody buys off plan, they now have to minimum spend 30, 40, even 50% before they're allowed to sell.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to call them small, but things like that will ensure that the speculators stay away, and that real estate is here for the long run. Now, of course, any sort of period of stability is welcomed, and if that comes, I think the market will benefit from that. People talk about corrections. I think I've mentioned before, I don't like the word correction because it's as if there's something wrong, but certainly a period of pause could be welcomed. But it's all about the population growth for me. And a few months ago, and I was surprised when I learned this, is that Abu Dhabi actually crossed the 4 million mark. Before we did.
Yeah.
Now, I always thought that Dubai was more populous than Abu Dhabi. Did you?
I lived in Abu Dhabi, so I'm aware of the size of the emirate, and I factor in Al Ain, and I look at Banias,
Right, yeah.
and so but I'm surprised at the 4 million.
So anyway, they got there before me, and I found myself sort of questioning the statistics a little bit, because I was thinking, crikey, I didn't. But then, of course, as you say, if you factor in Al Ain, Abu Dhabi is the largest emirate.
Yeah.
Do you know what the smallest emirate is?
I'm going Coin.
Everybody says that, but it's actually Ajman.
Is it really?
Yeah, there you go. Another something you've learned today.
This is a learning curve in here. I did not expect this.
Then sort of a couple of months later, Dubai crosses the 4 million mark.
Right.
Which I knew we would. But I was just surprised that we weren't the first. But anyway, so that's a lot of people. Dubai's done an amazing job and continues to do an amazing job on the world stage. The 10-year golden visa, the ease of doing business, the safety. Last night, and I've lived here 17 years. Last night I went out, funny enough, with a young British agent who's thinking about coming here and wanted to sort of tap me up for the knowledge and advice. And we had a bite to eat in JBR, and then we went off to have a shisha further down the road.
Okay.
And she was talking about something. I said, "Oh, have you been to the Dubai Frame? You know, the Dubai Frame." And she didn't know what it was, and I went to get my phone out to show her, and I couldn't find my phone. And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, where's my phone?" And then I thought, well, maybe I just left it in the restaurant. She completely panicked coming from the UK. "Oh my God, we must go now." You know, I said, "Relax, it's okay." You know, if I have left it there, I haven't dropped it. You know, because I remember taking a call actually in the restaurant. If I have left it there, it's okay. Anyway, I calmly called them. There it was. You know, so it was as if I did this on purpose to show her the safety aspect of Dubai. That, I mean, if that was the UK, that phone would be on its way to China by now, you know. Whereas there it is, and I even have, I've got a little bit of cash behind. So you've always got a little bit of cash. I know I've got Apple Pay and whatever, but it's just that security that was always there as well, you know. So I calmly walked in afterwards. There it was. Thanked the gentleman who happened to be an Italian guy. So we had a little chat. She was quite impressed with that as well, and got my phone, and away we go. So she understands about the safety aspect to it, you know. Families here, you know, women here can literally, you know, live so freely, whereas, you know, in Europe, in the United Kingdom, it's more difficult for someone to not be harassed, if I can put it that way, or not worry about wearing, you know, an expensive watch on your wrist.
Yeah.
These are the sad factors, but because Dubai got it so right, of course that's a draw in itself. And we're constantly trying to improve things as well. That's the other thing.
What do you mean constantly trying to prove things?
A couple of weeks ago, Sheikh Mohammed got together with apparently 1,000 business leaders and government officials to discuss about what can we do to improve the lives of residents. Not just from a day-to-day point of view, but from a bureaucracy point of view, from a governmental point of view. And it's this constant reevaluating life and how things work here. I mean, recently there was the first-time buyer project, where as long as you're 18 years of age, you're over 18, you're a resident of Dubai.
Yep.
Doesn't matter whether you bought in Ras Al Khaimah, Abu Dhabi. If you've never bought in Dubai before, you are then eligible for discounts, access to inventory through developers that maybe someone wouldn't have, better rates on mortgages. I mean, that's amazing. But I'll tell you now, they'll get together again, and going down the line, this is my prediction, is they'll open it up to everyone, not just residents of Dubai. And this is what I mean about making changes, ensuring that, you know, the ease of doing business is there, and ensuring that this bull run, if you like, kind of continues for that bit longer.
It's interesting that, because these are kind of modern attitudes to leadership, and this is a different approach to running a nation. Whether you agree with the way President Trump works it, that's a very different thing. America's a very different nation to here. But I think you're right, and this is how a country like this will develop. And it is constant reevaluation. Let's get back to the market, because you said in this newspaper article last week, it's obvious that the Dubai real estate market cannot just simply keep rising year after year. However, and as you pointed out there, the fundamentals of this bull run are clear. Let me just ask you very broadly, how would you characterize the market at this time? For example, last night when you're out with a young person who might well be coming to the country, how do you characterize the market for somebody like that?
Well, I'm always very measured. Being a Libran at heart, I will tell you all the good things.
You like to balance.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
But I'll also tell you all the bad things. So I'll tell you warts and all.
Right.
And in my time here in Dubai, I can say that sort of 50% has been amazing, and the other 50% has been not so amazing. Okay. And for sure, I think I should put pen to paper and write a book about it, because it really will be, I'm going to say a bestseller, but it'll certainly be an interesting read, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to, you know, tell a young person or whoever cares to listen about how amazing everything is. But life isn't amazing. And if we talk about real estate, you know, the majority of people that get into real estate, they don't make it. Some people just about make ends meet, believe it or not. But it's because the competition is so high, and the entry level is so low that you don't have to be quote unquote a rocket scientist to actually get in. But on the upside is it's probably the quickest way of becoming a millionaire.
Right.
I've got people who are qualified cosmetic dentists who've decided to become real estate agents. And it flabbergasted me to say, well, why would you want to do that? You've studied for years and years to then specialize in a specific field of medicine, and you want to be an agent? I mean, it beggars belief. I mean, your face tells it all.
But this is the thing, isn't it? Outside looking in, there are TV shows about it, shown all over the world. But outside looking in, there is this attraction about Dubai. And the big thing that we all talk about here, I guess, is real estate. And there is an opportunity there.
Well, you've got one thing I told this young person was that Dubai really can only count on 3 pillars now. I mean, obviously it used to have oil. I think oil is only 1 or 2% GDP. It's very, very small, so you can't really count it. It's trade, tourism, and real estate.
Yeah.
And obviously we had to diversify, and real estate is a major part of it. And of course, with it being a major part, there's a lot of components to it, and there's a lot of moving parts. And so, like I say, we as agents or companies, we all need agents. I mean, I'm screaming out for agents, and it's really, really tough because essentially everybody really offers the same thing. So it's down to who do you want to work for? And I'm not just talking about the name above the door. I'm talking about the actual individuals. So if people have worked with me, for example, and have liked working with me in the past and whatever, and want to do that again, there's a draw, a small draw perhaps, but there's an attraction there. Other than that, it's down to commissions. Who's paying the most commission? Who's paying the quickest commission? But companies spend a heck of a lot of money in marketing, as you've seen, and some do it slightly differently, like Mira have done. And it's really, really tough. But the entry level to get in is so easy, which is why another advice I give is to actually lower your expectations. Yeah. Don't expect just because you're in real estate that you're going to become a millionaire. Now, some do extremely well, and even very, very quickly. There are others that take 4, 5, even 6 months before they do their first deal.
What marks somebody out to you as somebody who will do well? I know we're off topic here, but this is interesting to me because my wife's nephew came to Dubai in April to work in real estate. He has a very kind of salesy approach, but I also think he's very good at listening. Now, I think he'll do really well over time, but he's under no illusions. He's 29, 30 years old. So no spring chicken, but obviously not where we are in life. He just said not pointedly. But I think he'll do well over time. But for you, what do you look for? How would you characterize a person who might
It's funny because the lady that was with me yesterday, she kind of asked me the same thing. And I said, look, if you're the kind of person that when you walk into a room, you will light up that room, then
right.
you've got that ingredient already. Okay. So grabbing people's attention, obviously being eloquent. I've said to her, and I'm just going to be brutally honest here, she's British and she's female. Already she's elevated in the eyes of certain clients. So when you speak to somebody and the other person, is clearly British, and especially female, I mean, it is what it is. Mainly the buyers are mainly guys. She's already elevated because if, for example, she was to walk into a lobby and speak to the security guard, say, I'm a new agent, this is my location, you do know of anybody wanting to sell or buy or whatever, right. And I do the same maybe an hour later, that security guard is going to want to do more business with her than with me. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
It's a reality.
And that's what I was trying to explain now and obviously to there. But look, as long as, I mean, you use the word listening. Your nephew, did you say?
Yeah.
So if he's a good listener, very important. Listening skills is something that I think are very much lacking in most industries. When you're having a debate, you can see it. The person's trying to formulate an answer even before the other person's finished speaking, so they're clearly not listening. Either that or they're super brainy and can do that, But so listening, being able to grab the attention. By that I mean when you walk into a room, if you've got some presence about you. And that doesn't mean that you have to be, a model-looking person, or stunning, attractive like that. I just mean that you've got this aura about you. getting to understand culturally as well where your clients are. Obviously, we're in a bit of a melting pot here. We have lots of different nationalities. And I think whilst language skills are super important, if you are aware of what, of how a Chinese person, for example, is what his nuances are. Just taking a business card from a Chinese person is very important. You've got to do it with two hands. You've got to look at it. I've seen people take it with one hand and put it straight in their pocket. That is the massive no-no for a Chinese person, because that's massive disrespect. Okay. So if you understand and learn a few of those things as well, you would do well in this particular marketplace. Resilience, tenacity, and the ability of never letting go. Having that consistent repertoire that if you're going to. If you're trying to get something, you're going to get a lot of no's. But the ability to believe in yourself and actually keep going until you do get that yes, and talking to everyone and anyone, because you never know who you're talking to.
So emotional intelligence is clearly really key. A little bit of, bit of understanding seems to work, but it's not necessarily something for somebody who is, that's a sales guy. It's not necessarily that person.
No, not necessarily, and that's why also sometimes agencies employ what I call freshers, people completely out of the industry who maybe have heard, someone's doing really well and maybe they're in a bit of a rut in their own job, etc. We'll try real estate. So they take freshers, because they can potentially be trained and molded to the way the company wants, and they don't necessarily have any bad habits. It's very easy to say an agency wants, experienced agents because they're what I call plug and play, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be successful. I've had people who were successful, joined a company, did nothing, left it, went somewhere else, and became successful again. It's like a flower. The soil has to have the nutrients. Too much water, it drowns. Too much sun, you burn it. Everything is a bit like the Goldilocks effect. You've got to have the right amount of ingredients to everything for the person to flourish. And with that comes also the people, the mentorship, the support network. Who's been there? Who's done it? If your manager is younger than you, what's he going to teach you, for example?
It's a very good point, but I think lots of people are seduced by coming to Dubai, have a background perhaps in sales, believe they can come here, but come with no idea of something that you pointed out there that I think is really, really key. We live in this city with 180, 200 nationalities. We hear that all the time, but it's the idea of cultural sensibilities. Your example of the business card is a great example.
Yeah, it's not just that. When I first came here, I didn't know that Emirati ladies didn't shake gentlemen's hands. Or at least they didn't back in 2008.
Well, many don't. No, I've had that before, because I would just bound up and go, hi, how you doing?
You do. And then you get that awkward moment where they touch their chest and you think, have I done something wrong?
Yeah.
But I read a book, actually. I think it's still in print. And I think it's still pertinent to this day, although the title isn't. The title is called Don't You Know It's Friday, or Don't They Know It's Friday?
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and it's a book about Emirati culture and the sort of do's and don'ts. And from that point of view, it was good for me to learn before I came here what to do and what not to do.
We are talking to Mario Volpi. He's the Senior VP for Investment Advisory at Allegiance Real Estate. Mario, we're going to come back to you right after the news. This is Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM.
It's the Morning Drive with me, Tim Elliott, and this morning, Mario Volpi, Senior VP for Investment Advisory at Allegiance Real Estate, is with me, just back from Georgia. Had a great trip, knows how to hire a broker in real estate. Mario, thank you for sticking around. I want to get back to the market conversation that we are having. It seems like everybody is having, to be honest, at the moment. Is there a cooling off period? Is there, let's say, an adjustment rather than a correction? Is that going to happen? You're quoted last week as saying, it's obvious that the Dubai real estate market cannot just simply keep rising year after year. However, the fundamentals of this bull run are clear. You've characterized the market for us, how you see it, and your point about population is well made. Dubai's population growth surpassed 4 million people in August. People are coming, people want to live here. And it's a number that is expected to grow into 2026. We reached the 4 million ahead of schedule. That was scheduled for next year, I believe. So, if you assume modest population growth in the next few months, and if you judge the traffic on the roads, as you and I often do, that's a reasonable thing to do. More people are going to want to say, Dubai is my home.
No, definitely. And the straight answer to your question is nobody knows what's going to happen.
For sure.
Everybody has an idea. Everybody can wade in with their ideas on what's going to happen. For sure, I can say that from an asset class point of view, villas and townhouses are the poorer relation, and by that I mean developers are happier to build tower blocks rather than sort of villa communities because they have to use up less land, obviously.
Yep.
So for them, it's more financially positive to actually have a tower construction rather than villas and townhouses. And so as a result, there is this imbalance. There are many, many more apartments. So if I have to look at what might stabilize in terms of properties coming online, completions, handovers, etc., it's the apartment market potentially. But as you say, if the population continues to grow, the cycle is very simple. I mean, 90% of expats rent.
Yeah.
The 75% of Emiratis own. And so there's still a large portion of people who either are not sure, they don't have maybe long-term views over Dubai. And since I've come here, you know, Dubai has become a place where people do put their roots down, especially because of the 10-year golden visa, which has been an amazing initiative by the government. And so these things have made Dubai a little bit more of a permanent place rather than just a posting. I mean, when I first came here, Dubai was a hardship posting. They had to really, you know, offer you perhaps, you know, school fees, better housing, you know, perhaps even a car, not just a car allowance. Now, I mean, you're having to sell yourself to actually get a place here, or just dive into real estate, as we talked about. So I think potentially there could be some stabilization in apartments. I don't see villas and townhouses necessarily stabilizing anytime soon, but that's purely and simply because there is perhaps more demand for family homes, and again, that's due to the fact that more people are coming here, bringing their families, opening up businesses. So we're not just talking about people coming here; they're actually entrepreneurial people. Yes, we talked about all these millionaires that are also coming from the United Kingdom, etc. So we have ordinary people, we have people with wealth, but we also have people with ideas.
Yeah.
And that's what Dubai is, and the UAE in the wider scope is attracting these kind of people.
What do you say in terms of that word affordability? Wages keeping pace with property inflation, incredibly hard to do, and it just isn't happening, is it? Dubai is an emirate. Its property market has seen prices climb double digits, really in the last 2 years, since about mid-2023. They're around about 50% higher than 5 years ago. So is affordability eroding, do you think?
Look, we've also been there before. If we're talking rents, I mean, rental prices went mental as well. And then, of course, the financial crash happened. And I said it last night, Dubai was actually lucky to be able to say, well, you know, our market crashed because of the world financial crash. Because I believe at that time, through non-regulations, through literally buying a property at 5% and being able to sell it straight away, you know, that sort of speculative market, it was a house of cards. It was waiting to collapse. But fortunately, Dubai, in my opinion, could sort of hide behind what was going on globally, and came out of it really well as well eventually. So that was a good move.
It was a very young market at the time as well.
Absolutely. Well, it was only 6 years old.
Yeah, there was a learning period.
Of course.
Yeah.
And when I look back to how things were done then and how they are now, I mean, people ask, is Dubai a mature market? I mean, we're getting there. Is it mature today? I don't think so in the true sense of the word, but we're definitely getting there. I mean, in 2008, you had developers selling apartments in a building they hadn't built on land they didn't even own. So, of course, when problems came, and unfortunately, these developers ran away, people lost their money. So now, even if a developer does not complete or closes, the escrow account is there, the protection is there.
Yeah.
And that's fundamentally the most important thing from an off-plan point of view. So the government have got it spot on. And, there's always slight, I'm not going to call them loopholes, but for example, developers now are saying, look, we don't have the escrow, but if you want to put down your expression of interest, here's an amount of money which is fully refundable, so actually there's no risk, but it secures you in the queue, if I can put it that way.
Okay.
And then, of course, when they do get the escrow and they're ready to start selling, the client can then decide whether he does indeed want to go ahead or not. And if he doesn't, that money goes back to him. It sounds so easy and so fundamental, but we didn't have that, 17 years ago, as it were. So every day things are improving, and every day we are getting to a better market. Is it perfect? Nothing is perfect. But certainly it's a lot better today. And that is also why some of these developers, you never heard of them. In the old days, as I call it, in 2008, if you weren't Emaar, Nikhil, or Dubai Properties, you would struggle to sell anything because people didn't trust you, they didn't know who you are, and even if you did things abroad, it was still difficult here. Now you can be totally new. It doesn't matter whether you've done anything or not, delivered anything or not. The fact of the escrow account protects you.
It's an entirely different proposition now, but I guess Dubai is an entirely different proposition in kind of international recognition terms. What I like is 2008 is the old days. By the way,
isn't that funny? But the thing is, I took about like my column in the National. I talk about getting letters. I don't talk about emails. I say, I got a letter. Well, I don't get letters.
Oh man, what do you get now? Do you get tweets? Do you get posts?
Well, I think they're called X. They do get X's now.
Are they called X's?
Well, it's X, isn't it? It's not tweeting anymore.
I'm
I don't know.
not the man to ask.
I don't know.
Let me get another thought from you. We're at record levels right now in Dubai. And here's the figures. Dubai real estate sales surged to $136 billion in the first 9 months of this year, so to the end of September. Q3 hit a record of 59,228 transactions worth $46.5 billion. Q3 saw 49,370 apartment sales, up nearly 26% year on year in volume. That's gangbusters.
Yeah, and when you consider it's the summer months as well,
exactly.
That makes it even more interesting and even more surprising. But it also shows that Dubai is ever so slowly becoming, a 12-month city. Yes, of course, some people tend to leave, in the summer months to try and cool off. But a lot of the, dare I say, the guys or the husbands stay behind and keep working whilst the family, are off enjoying their European holiday or whatever it is. And then they get to join them. But more people are now coming into Dubai in July and August from a holiday point of view because there are great deals. I mean, I know the British companies, cheaper hotels, cheaper flights. Of course, you roast when you get here, but at the end of the day, if you want to come and
British people love that, Mario. You know that too well.
Mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun, as they say.
That's the point. That's the point.
But what I'm saying is, it is becoming. Yes, we have our seasons as well, and we're now entering into an amazing sort of from a weather point of view. But this last quarter should, in theory, actually beat the previous quarter. And so the numbers that you've just given are huge. So to actually then beat the third quarter figures, again, is going to have to go some. But I believe it's got that momentum anyway. October, November, December, from a weather point of view, is amazing. More people are coming. It's high season when it comes to tourism. Airbnbs are going to be full. People are going to come, experience things, dare I say, for the first time. And we're open for business, So people, when they come, look, and a bit like what I was saying to this lady last night, when you come here and you look at Dubai through the eyes of a tourist, that's one thing. When you look at it through the eyes of a resident, and the nuances and the traffic potentially and the good things and the bad things that you experience, you do have a different perspective on it. And she's only been here a couple of days, and of course she's all excited and everything. But the fact is, you mentioned it earlier on. I tell it as it is. All the amazing things that Dubai has to offer, but also I tell you, look, that frustrates me, or this, I wish they did this in a different way. You know, like I say, it's not perfect, but these things have to be discussed, because I feel that I would not have given my true advice had I not also said, right, well, these are all your pros. These, in my opinion, are the cons.
There's also investor confidence in Dubai, I think, the confidence in the country, and I think that plays a huge role. From your perspective, what's the view of investing in Dubai real estate like? Would you say, you talk to people internationally, obviously. What's the overall view?
Well, first of all, I take it from a basis of where they're coming from. You know, so if we're talking Europe, the UK, you know, there are taxes. You seem to work for very little. The welfare state. Everybody talks about the National Health Service. If we talk about England, I think, honestly, I mean, yeah, it's a national treasure and all that, but I think it should be scrapped. I really do. And if go from an insurance point of view, like we have here, for example. An absolute minimum, yes, so everyone's covered. But if you want more, you kind of get more. Now, we get that anyway in the United Kingdom. But all I'm saying is that if they're coming from a point of view where life isn't great, so already it's slightly easier to say, well, actually in Dubai it's not like that. You know, you sell a property, there's no property tax here. Obviously, you've got to check your tax situations back in your home country, because there might be implications there. But everything that you earn, you keep. If you're in a free zone, you can repatriate all your funds. There's so many benefits. And you do that on the basis of, look at your life now. Look at what's happening. If you want to buy a property in Europe or the UK, you know, what's the potential capital appreciation? What's your return on investment? What could you rent it for? So when I do talk to international clients, I definitely start and understand what their pain points are, and then try to give them the solutions. Because, as I say, Dubai doesn't necessarily have all the answers, or the UAE doesn't necessarily have all the answers, but boy, does it have a lot of them.
That's what's interesting, I think, with a question like that. It's a very broad question. It's a difficult one to answer, and whether you agree with political systems, way of right, that's kind of by the by. But it's the perception and the perspective that you gain from that perception versus the reality on the ground. That's what I'm looking
Well, you say the reality on the ground. I maintain that Dubai has done an amazing job on the world stage in selling itself. Not just as an area to come and have a nice holiday.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of a given. As long as the weather's great, well, you're going to have a nice holiday. You've got some sand, you've got the sea, you're done.
Yeah.
Unless you're a surfer, of course, in which case you've got a problem, because there's not many waves in JBR Beach.
Yeah, that's true. But then it's Salalah.
Well, yeah, but that's Oman.
Yeah, not that far
It's
away.
still Oman. It's not Dubai.
There's decent surfing there.
Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree. But the point is that, so not just from a visitor point of view or a hospitality or a tourist point of view, Dubai's done an amazing job in explaining, you know, how easy it is to open a company, how relatively cheap it is to open a company, how quick it is to open a company, and what the benefits are there from a taxation point of view or lack of. But again, the good thing was, from a business point of view, is we came out of the grey zone.
Yeah.
And countries like Monte Carlo and Monaco went on it, which I was very surprised. But we're out of it. That has brought in a lot more investment because the confidence is there. Anti-money laundering, know your client, the KYC forms, all these things that infuriates the hell out of all of us, I'm sure. But it is a necessary evil to show the world stage that we're here, we're ready to do business, and we're good at it. And that's also where we've done really well.
We're kind of outside looking in, and I want to stay there for a minute, because I think there's a need to factor in intensifying competition from, well, look, within this country, from Abu Dhabi, for example. If you're looking at Dubai, Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, opening zones to foreign buyers next year. So Dubai and Abu Dhabi, very attractive places to invest in property. It's very likely that Riyadh will become, when it opens up in that way, an attractive place to invest in real estate as well.
I totally agree, but competition is good. Right now, I mean, look, Saudi has always been a competitor, in my opinion, to the UAE.
Right.
And of course, now it's about building the tallest tower in the world, isn't it? So the Burj Khalifa might get overtaken, but it was the first, and therefore it will always be, the granddaddy, if you like, of towers.
For sure.
Until we decide to trump that again. Excuse the expression, trump that. But anyway, to overtake that. So I do believe that internally we're having this competition. You can say that the little brother of in Ras Al Khaimah has started to pipe up quite a bit.
Yep.
I mean, Ras Al Khaimah has stolen a march over everybody with the licensing of the casinos. And just to make it clear, my understanding is that that license is around 5 years, after which that license will be either opened up or given to Abu Dhabi for, again, another sort of 5-odd year period. So actually, Dubai probably isn't going to get casinos for another 10 years, at least. And yet there's talk of casinos coming to Dubai. Today, I don't think Dubai needs casinos. We've got enough going on. Let the other Emirates have a little bit of fun. And Abu Dhabi also, I think, slowly is becoming a major player. You've got the likes of Disney coming. Companies like that. That is such a major feather in your cap.
It really is, actually. I mean, another theme park, but I've
but it's
looked
Disney.
at that.
It's
absolutely right. Yeah, that is a huge deal. We've got a minute or two left.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of wise to point out, I think, at this point, to finish off, no one is predicting an imminent crash. This is just speculation in the media. It's the UBS index for 2025. An adjustment, correction, whatever you want to call it, is that going to happen? It seems like probably not. And I think the kind of proviso here is you need to remember, and this was in one of the reports recently and quoted last week, Dubai has a track record in proving doubters wrong. That's something we need to bear in mind.
And that's also why I say that nobody actually knows.
Sure.
It's definitely a wait-and-see scenario. If an investor is feeling worried, that's fine. Take your time. Yeah. But fortune favors the brave. I mean, we went to Italy for a roadshow recently, and some ladies came to Dubai and put an expression of interest on a property in Dubai Islands. The day before, unfortunately, there was the shenanigans between Israel and Iran, and the sort of the bombing of Iraq, Qatar, as you might remember. Yeah. And of course, they got spooked. Okay. So they know we don't want to invest here, whatever. So they took their money away. Now, the thing is, as time went on, they then thought about it, because it wasn't UAE that had the issues. We're one of the closest neighbors to Iran, and yet we're fine. And I tried to explain that it's okay to feel fearful. If you don't want to buy, it's okay. No one's putting, pressure on you to buy. But my clients who didn't withdraw are now looking at an increase of 5 or 10% in the 6 months where they held on to it.
Good
so
news.
Look at the history.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily, but it's okay to feel whatever you feel. That's how I ended that conversation. And the story ended with them putting the deposit back in.
Mario Volpi is Senior VP Investment Advisory at Allegiance Real Estate. Mario, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM.